Hey guys, welcome into the Week 2 edition of the Shelby County High School Football Week in Review. My name is Alec Etheridge, the sports editor here at The Reporter. It's hard to believe that we've already made it 2 weeks through the regular season. Even crazier, we're now going into Week 3, which means region play is kicking off for all 11 of our AHSAA teams, as they'll be in action this Friday night, looking to start that playoff run for one of the top 4 spots in their respective regions. It's hard to believe we've made it that far, so with all 11 teams playing, I really just want to go ahead and dive in and get straight to it. What we're going to do, we're going to take a look back at this past week's action, and we're also going to take a look ahead to those important region matchups this Friday night. And at the end, we're going to name our second SCR Star of the week. There were 3 or 4 really big performances this past Friday night that stood out, and we're going to talk about all 3 of those and then name an overall player of the week as well, who kind of stood out from the rest of the pack. But first, what we're going to do is we're going to start with our third game of the week for the 2017 season, and we're going to do that right now. So our third game of the week for the 2017 season is going to be none other than Calera hosting Dallas County for each's first region matchup of the 2017 season this Friday night. It's a game that Calera won on a field goal last year late in the game, 25-22. But before we dive into this year's matchup, let's take a look back at this past week for both teams. Calera, much more balanced this week. Week 1, they were a little bit pass heavy, only had 50 yards rushing after a great season a year ago with 3 backs going over 700 yards. So to see them balance it out more this week, they had 120 yards rushing, 184 more yards through the air. So really a balanced attack. It really cost Bibb County the game because they were able to keep them off guard so much. And the defense stepped up tremendously in Week 2 for the Eagles. They fall behind 6-0 early, but then outscore Bibb County 25-6 the remainder of the first half and shut them out defensively in the second half to take home a 25-12 win. Dallas County, on the other hand, is coming off a 34-0 defeat to McAdory to open the season. That's not what they wanted to start the year. So their offense seems to be lagging behind. With Calera's defense improving so much in Week 2, I fully expect them to do the same in Week 3. Not only improve, but really shut Dallas County down. You know, Calera should have won Game 1, lost that one 29-27 in a heartbreaker, had a chance to win late. So they should be 2-0 going into this matchup. Dallas County comes in 0-1, while the Eagles are 1-1 on the season. I expect Calera to start region play strong, get off to a 1-0 start in region play, improve their overall record to above 500 at 2-1. I just think their offense and defense combined are going to be too much this week, and I really like Calera to win this one big. So a close second for game of the week is Pelham traveling to Benjamin Russell this Friday night. I can't stress enough how big of a rebound Pelham had this past Friday night as they took on Mortimer Jordan at home. They pick up a 30-15 win, mending their broken hearts from the Homewood loss to open the season the week before. That was just a huge rebound for those guys. And, you know, head coach Tom Causey told me after that loss to Homewood that there was a new expectation for this team, even though they lost that game, and it really showed off tonight, or this past Friday night. Last year they folded and they fell big time to Mortimer Jordan on the road. This year they bounced back with a 30-15 win, played from in front the entire game, and really never threatened to lose that game. So huge response for them. This Friday night they get Benjamin Russell. They travel to Benjamin Russell. It's a game they lost 42-21 last year, but this year it's a different story. This is a Pelham team that's fighting for one of those final 2 playoff spots. Everybody I've talked to in Class 6A Region 3 seems to think that Pelham, Helena, Chelsea, and Benjamin Russell will be battling for those final 2 spots, while Opelika and Wetumpka battle for the top 2 spots. So this is a very important game this Friday night to kind of give one of those teams a leg forward in making the playoffs and finishing in one of those final 2 spots for the playoffs. And I really like Pelham right now. They played Game 1 fantastic defensively. Game 2, they might have improved even more defensively. I really like where they're at right now. And to see what Brandon Sledge is doing offensively, he scored 4 touchdowns, all 4 of their touchdowns in the win over Mortimer Jordan. And he has 6 of their 7 touchdowns on the season. That's just a dynamic player right there for everything that he's done. Pelham looks strong right now, really strong. If they can improve offensively even more, they're going to be one of the better teams in 6A Region 3. And I think they could lock up the 3rd or 2nd playoff spot. Right now, this game Friday night, a big game. They lost last year 42-14 to Mortimer Jordan and got redemption. Then they went on to lose 42-21 to Benjamin Russell the week after. I expect Pelham to get redemption. I didn't pick them to beat Mortimer Jordan this past week. I expect them to beat Benjamin Russell this Friday night to improve to 1-0 in region play and 2-1, a winning record for Tom Causey over there at Pelham as he's trying to get those rebuilding efforts going. This is going to be a strong week for Pelham, and I feel pretty confident about it. So now that we've gone through our two biggest games in Shelby County for the upcoming week, we're going to kind of go by classification and break it down. We'll start in 7A with the Thompson Warriors. They're coming off a bye week this week after opening with a win over Hatefield Charter in a thrilling 21-20 game. This week they get Tuscaloosa County coming off that bye. It's a game they only won 10-3 last year, but Tuscaloosa County so far this season 1-1 with a 27-24 win over Paul Bryant and a 31-14 loss to Northridge. I think Thompson's better than Northridge, so that makes this game pretty easy to look at. Thompson's offense is much better than it was last year. Defense is just as good, if not better. I expect them to hold Tuscaloosa County to 10 or less. I expect Thompson to score 30 plus. So I expect this to be a pretty good route, a nice start for region play for Thompson in 2017. So probably our third biggest game of the county this week is going to be Spain Park traveling to Vestavia. It's a game they won 28-14 last year, and I honestly think that Spain Park's probably going to win a little bit bigger this year. Through 2 weeks of the season, you look at Spain Park as a defensive team, but they've scored a combined 71 points with all that offensive talent they had, and the defense has improved through the first 2 weeks in each game. First game, they give up 19 to Gadsden City. This past week, they gave up 7 to Muscle Shoals. I said that Spain Park was going to win that game big over Muscle Shoals, and they made me happy by doing so with a 41-7 rout. I expect the offense to continue to get better. They have so many playmakers on that side of the ball, and the defense just has no room but to go up with the amount of youth they have on that side of the ball. To see both sides playing so well early in the season is very important, and I think right now they are still our best team in Shelby County. Vestavia coming off a 6-0 loss to Homewood to start the season. Not what you want when you're about to go face off against this Spain Park defense. You need your offense clicking, and that's not happening right now. That ends a long win streak for the Rebels over the Patriots. I fully expect Spain Park to be clicking on all cylinders and on both sides of the ball with the talent they have right now, and really to get off to a fast start in 7A Region 3 play. What a fantastic start to the 2017 football season for the Oak Mountain Eagles. Off to a fast 2-0 start as they get a redemption win to start the season, 21-10 over Chelsea. They follow that up with another redemption win against Hillcrest Tuscaloosa this past Friday night, 28-27, as the Patriots failed to score on a 2-point conversion late to try to win that one outright. A fast 2-0 start for the Eagles. They look much better than a year ago already on both sides of the ball, but specifically defensively. Their defense has really stepped up and kind of caught up with the offense, who's still trying to improve, mind you that. So very good start for them. This week they get a Huffman team that they lost to last year, 21-11. Probably a game they shouldn't have lost. Huffman finished second to last in the region last year and only picked up one additional win other than Oak Mountain. So Oak Mountain's the better team this year. Huffman's coming in off a 28-14 win over Parker, so I do expect it to be a close battle, but Oak Mountain, the better team here. They look solid defensively and offensively and have 2 big momentum wins. They have probably more momentum than anybody in the county besides Spain Park right now, so I expect that to continue. I expect the Eagles to get off to a 1-0 start in region play this Friday night. So this game between Chilton County and Helena this Friday night is kind of a tricky one. Chilton County's coming in 0-2 with losses to Sylacauga and Jemison. They lost to Sylacauga 42-26, lost to Jemison 21-20. Probably shouldn't have lost that Jemison game. That's a game that they should have won. They're the better team. They lost. Helena's coming in 0-1 with a big loss to Mountain Brook this past Friday night. Neither team seems to be clicking at all right now, and this is kind of one of those things where the loser of this game could end up finishing last in the region, while the winner gets a little bit of momentum and tries to use that to their advantage to kind of sneak into that 4th playoff spot. Right now, both teams struggling. They need to fix it quickly as this first region game looms. I don't really know where to go in this one. I kind of think Helena's the more talented team. They have more talent on their roster. They should win it, but it's going to be a close battle, and they really need to be prepared for that. But I do think that Helena is going to be able to start the season 1-0 in region play after a tough contest, however. Kind of in a similar boat to that Helena-Chilton County game is going to be Chelsea and Wetumpka, but really for only one team. Wetumpka comes in with a 2-0 record, scoring 47 and 48 points in their first 2 games, while Chelsea's only scored a combined 17. Their offense still struggling through 2 weeks, lose 21-10 in their opener against Oak Mountain, then fall 19-7 this past week against Briarwood. I've never seen Coach Chris Elmore that dejected as he looked on the sideline after the game Friday night. One of the nicest guys you'll meet, and I know he's going to get that offense turned around just simply because he's an offensive genius, but still some quarterback issues that they're trying to work out. The defense, on the other hand, has looked fantastic through 2 games, and I fully expect them to keep them in this game as well. Against Briarwood and Oak Mountain, they gave the offense short fields to work with, but just by forcing turnovers, but the offense just couldn't capitalize. I expect Chelsea to make some improvements this week offensively and make some steps forward. It's not going to be enough to win the game, but at least enough to kind of give them a little bit of confidence as they go into a couple of their bigger matchups in the coming weeks. So Briarwood, who I still think is one of the better 5A teams in the state, starts the season 1-0 with the big win over Chelsea 19-7. The offense, they had their struggles and some up and downs, especially with the exchanges from quarterback Michael Ayers to running back J.R. Tranreno. There were a couple of fumbles there. They turned the ball over a few times, but overall Tranreno had a nice night, 96 yards rushing. Carson Eddy at the receiver position put up 100-plus receiving yards, 3 touchdowns in that game. He was the bright spot really on the entire team, one of the best players out there in that game. Defensively, they look as good as I expected. Gabriel Russell and Mark Can at the linebacker position, and others really on the defensive line as well, stepping up. I will say the offensive line, however, does need to make some improvements. They seem to struggle a little bit, but as the game went on Friday night, they looked a lot better in that aspect as well. Briarwood seems to be clicking right now. The offense is only going to improve as Ayers gets more reps at the quarterback position. Moody comes into this game with a 23-7 win over Springville in week 1. This is a game that Briarwood won 42-6 last year. I think Moody's made a little bit of improvement in the way of offense, but not enough to make up that kind of difference. Briarwood's still going to score a ton of points in this game. I see it being somewhere in the 30s to somewhere around 10 for Moody. So I expect Briarwood to get off to another 1-0 start in region play as they look to defend that region crown in 2017. So I said on last week's show that Shelby County might be able to outdo themselves from putting up 49 points against Holt last year, and they did just that. They put up 51 points in the game this year in a 51-8 win to start the season 1-0, and it was just an unbelievable thing. They put up 314 yards on the ground, and 6 different guys in total score during that game to get them off to a 1-0 start. The offense, right where it left off last year, really improved. Actually, looks really good so far. Defensively was the big concern coming in from the offseason. Only give up 8 points in this game to Holt. That doesn't say as much because Holt's not that great of a team, but I do trust Coach Childers. He told me honestly in the offseason that they needed to chase to the ball and tackle better as the linebacker position was really weak for them a season ago. They look better early in the season this year. Going into a matchup with St. Clair County. St. Clair County coming off a 49-52 loss to Lincoln in week 1. Not what you want when you're going into face a team that also put up 50 points the week before. So I do think Shelby County is going to lock up another 1-0 start in region play and their second 2-0 start in 2 years. Impressive thing that Coach Childers is doing there. They're going to take it one game at a time this year. I expect them to get off to that 2-0 start yet again behind some strong offense. So Montevallo gets off to a 1-0 start just like I expected they would. Not quite the offensive output I expected. They put up 21 points in a 21-14 win. I expected closer to 30 or so in that game, but the defense played really well. Gave up 14 points, but overall they get some of those jitters out of the way, improved throughout the game. I expect Montevallo to improve on that side of the ball, especially with the playmakers they have back. Offensively, quarterback Jay Sullins looked strong. Really had a great game throwing and on the ground as well, doing both things as a dual-threat quarterback. I like him moving forward in Coach Wilcox's offense. I think they're going to do some neat things with him this year. This week they get a matchup with American Christian, a game they won 14-7 a season ago, which suits Montevallo in my opinion because of their strong defense this year. It's going to be low scoring again this year. American Christian coming off 17-13 loss to open the season. Follow that up with a 19-7 win. Their offense is struggling. Yet again, that suits Montevallo with their strong defense. I expect the Bulldogs offense to kind of continue to grow and improve this week. They do lose a tough guy in Daquan Bryan out there at receiver who broke a bone in his leg. That's unfortunate. He is one of the better receivers coming back this year. Hopefully he gets well. Our thoughts and prayers are with him. But overall, this Montevallo team is too good, even without him moving forward on both sides of the ball to lose this game. They're going to start region play 1-0, move to 2-0 on the season. So what's the reward for Vincent after starting the season 1-0 for the first time since 2013? They get the best team in the region. This Friday night, they start region play with Lafayette, a team that beat them 62-6 last year. But through 2 games, Lafayette, last year they were averaging closer to 45 points a game. This year, that's down all the way to 20 points per game through 2 games. They're 1-1. Vincent comes in 1-0 after their 14-13 win over Pleasant Valley to start the season. I don't think Vincent has enough firepower to win this game. I do think they have enough firepower to keep it close, especially with Lafayette playing in some close games to start the season against the same teams they scored 40 points against last year. So I think it's going to be a closer game than people expect, maybe 28-14 or so, which means Vincent's going to be in it, especially in that second half where they have a chance to win. If they do win this game, they're going to send shockwaves across the state, and Wiley McKellar's name is going to be all over the place for what he's done to rebuild this Yellow Jacket team. I think it's going to be a close one, but Vincent falls to 0-1 in region play. My big bold prediction this year, they win 5 games and make the playoffs, so I'm not worried about them right now. Even if they lose this game, they're still making tons of strides over there at Vincent, and I like what they're doing. So now that we've recapped Week 2 in high school football in Shelby County and taken a look ahead to the first week of region play, I want to go ahead and look at our second SCR Star of the week. A couple of guys stood out in Jay Sullins, quarterback at Montevallo, Jalen McMillan, the wide receiver over at Spain Park. He had a nice game as well. And the Briarwood running back, J.R. Tranrino, also a nice week, both on the ground running, as well as his 33-yard touchdown pass to Carson Eddy. But there's 3 guys in particular that really stood out this week that I want to take a closer look at. One of which will be our SCR Star of the Week. It's going to start with over at Cornerstone Christian School with Rhett Garrett. He was 10-19, 323 yards, 6 touchdowns on the night, and a 50-14 win over Hope. They are now 2-1 on the season. He's really got that spread offense attack over there under control, really doing a lot of work to be the best that he can be. I like what I'm seeing from him at the quarterback position at Cornerstone. Carson Eddy, another guy that had a big week. He had 105 yards receiving, 3 touchdowns, and a very impressive game 1 for him. He was their leading receiver on last year's team, brings that experience back, and has taken no time through game 1, already 105 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns. He's going to be one of the best players in the county this year. Could end up being our player of the year at the end of the year if he keeps that up. But the SCR Star of the Week is going to go to none other than Brandon Sledge. Brandon Sledge, big player over there at Pelham right now. He's got 6 of their 7 touchdowns on the season, had all 4 of their touchdowns against Mortimer Jordan this past Friday night as he helped them rebound in a 30-15 win. Big game from him. Also, he had an 88-yard kickoff return in that game as one of his 4 touchdowns. He had a swing pass on a reverse option on a 3rd and 12 that he took all the way to the house as well for about 15 yards. So an impressive game from Brandon Sledge. I was impressed with him in week 1 when he scored 2 of their 3 touchdowns against Homewood. Even more impressed with him now as he helps Pelham rebound for a big win over Mortimer Jordan to even their record at 1-1. Very impressed with Sledge through 2 games of the season. I expect him to keep that up. And they have other playmakers. With him playing so good early in the season, it's going to help things open up for Nicholas Blackburn and Edward Gibson, other running backs as well as receivers. So I look for big things to come from Pelham. Congrats to you, Brandon Sledge. Impressive week this week, as well as those other guys that we mentioned. So we'll name our next SCR Star of the Week next week. But first off, just congrats to those guys and keep up the hard work. All of you keep up the hard work. An impressive week through 2 weeks of the season. I'm excited to see what's to come and hope you guys are as well. Keep working hard, guys. So now we've made it officially through our 3rd episode of the season. I can't believe it's just flying along. I can't believe how fast everything's going. It's been an amazing start. I want to thank you guys for not only tuning into this, but our Facebook Live events on Friday nights before the game. I'm enjoying this job so much early in the season. I can't wait to see what's to come. Make sure that you're on the lookout for our next Facebook Live video this Friday night, as I'll be out at the Calera-Dallas County game for our Game of the Week and our great coverage from after the game as well. You guys have been reading those up like a storm. I really appreciate all the support and hope you will continue to tune in to these videos as well as those Facebook Live videos and keep reading all of the great stuff that we put together for you guys. I couldn't do it without you, and just wanted to say thank you for everything and tuning in for this video, and look forward to seeing you guys next week.